Red Rankin for the Paddington Gone Wild podcast. EA comes out with its overall rankings across college football, and they are awful. Colorado featured in this list as one of the marquee teams, the second best team in the Big 12 behind Utah. Colorado. They have Utah as the 10th best team in the country, 88 overall. Colorado 16th, 87 overall. A couple of the Big 12 teams there kind of around the bottom of the top 25. Kansas 22, Arizona, who's a Big 12 team now, 23, Oklahoma State 24, no sign of Kansas State, and a bad list. No question, just generally wholly not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's all over the place. You didn't even bring up what I think might be the most egregious thing about anything that EA has published so far, which is saying that Kyle Field is the most hostile home environment in college football.
Yeah.
Kyle Field.
When did we decide that, by the way? Like 5 years ago, there wasn't okay, hold on, everybody. 5 years ago, wasn't a thing. And they haven't been good to make it a thing. It's not like they've been, like for Texas, if you said, hey, DKR's top 15 right now, well, they're good. So it's tough to argue against a good team. A&M just fired their coach. How is that number one?
Yeah, I mean, they also let App State walk into their stadium and beat them and upset them. I mean, App State, which obviously you and I are old enough to remember App State, Michigan, but they were not a good team. They got a couple of fun upsets early in the season, but you go back and look at the rest of that season, they were not good, which just proves that A&M fans love to say that A&M is a hard place to play.
Yeah.
But does anyone else actually care that much about playing in Kyle Field?
Not me, no.
Yeah, not me. As someone who's never played there, but...
Right. I don't think I'm ever going to play Kyle Field. I don't really dream to play Kyle Field, though. And it begs the question, and this is a tough conversation. What is the best atmosphere in the Big 12? You could argue BYU is up there for sure. But again, for a team that's just wasn't very good last year, you got to take that into account and think, if you're the Big 12, do you try to argue for any of your stadiums? Because there aren't Boone Pickens, Oklahoma State's good. And there are plenty that are solid, but none that are Penn State, right? Or LSU. And I'm fine admitting that. And none that are Penn State or LSU in the overalls, by the way. Can we, for 1 second, Colorado, why? What are we doing with this?
It's insane. So I have some stats pulled up. I wanted to provide receipts to show just how disappointing this team is. So according to the NCAA website, Colorado was 127th in FBS in overall defense.
That's not good, right?
That's not good. Out of 133 teams, Baylor was 110th.
That's better than Colorado.
Spots higher. And you and I watched basically every defensive snap those boys took.
Sadly, very, very sadly. Yeah, not good. Yeah.
LSU, a team that you brought up earlier, LSU that most of us decried as one of the worst defenses we've seen from a program of that caliber in some time, was a full 22 spots higher. This team is a horrific defense, and yet they finished top 25. Kansas State, who had a decent enough defense last year. Yeah. I mean, they were a top 30 defense in terms of points per game allowed.
Which is good. Yeah.
Which is good. Which is quite good, especially in FBS and in a pretty good offense that they were running out there. They are 24th overall. And I understand that K-State has lost a couple of guys, but when you think about it, I mean, do we think Kobe Savage was such an important part to K-State's defense that him going to Oregon is going to drop them below what was considered a horrific defense last season?
No, they're not worse than Colorado.
No. It just, and even you brought up the offensive numbers as well. They're also a top 25 offense. They were 60th. 60th. And I understand they had some injuries, but and I understand, we talked about this in the first segment, that college football is ultimately a product. That you and I, as much as we want to be two old men who want to sit and watch college football without ads, that we can sit back and relax and just enjoy it as it is it's a product and people need to make money off of it. But at what point are we lying to everyone in the world about what Colorado will be?
I think we've reached that point of and the lunacy of leaving a Kansas State out of the top 25, It's not as crazy as putting Colorado in your top 16. They're sitting at 16 right now, but it's still crazy. And I don't know if it's just disrespect to the Big 12 as much as it is. Look, if Colorado was left off the list entirely, okay, Utah was at 10, the Big 12 had a splattering of teams. You're just like, oh, okay, spattering of teams. You're like, oh, that's fine. But the fact that Colorado's at 16 in the country above Oklahoma or Wisconsin or USC shows me whoever put the game together was like, hey, let's just go to 247sports.com. You know, this kid was a 4-star. I get it. He hasn't been good in college, but he's a 4-star. We'll give him a 89 overall. We'll go on about our day. To me, for a game that I'm very excited to play, this is a whiff when it comes to labeling teams for how good, like A&M being 14th in the country. What? They sucked. They blew chunks and just fired their coach. What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, I like Mike Elko, but again, this is the thing of like, at a certain point, what's happening here? Yeah. Is it purely like, is it engagement bait? Is this like you getting on the Bird app and just saying something to see what people will fire up? Are we big?
Which happens a lot. Which happens a lot.
It's true. You and I both big fans of it. But how much are we going to continue to let this happen?
Yeah.
And I understand that a big part of what EA has put forth about this game is that there will be constant updates. Things will constantly be coming in and will fluctuate. And I'm assuming overall ratings will do the same thing. I'm assuming player ratings will do the same thing. But how disappointing is it going to be when Colorado in week 6 drops from an 89 overall as one of the 15, 20 best teams in the country to then all of a sudden they're 74?
Not a good look for EA. I can tell you that much.
Not a good look for EA at all.
Like, great for the ball knowers, terrible for the non-ball knowers at EA Sports who built this video game.
True.
I hope the game itself is better than the overall rankings they gave, where Virginia Tech is 20th in the country. When is the last time they did anything? Coming up, West Virginia gets the bone all the time on Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is where I go to buy tickets, last-second tickets. I saw Tyler Childers a couple weeks ago. I plan to see Tyler Childers with my friend Red Rankin in August. How am I going to do it if I don't have the tickets in hand right now? That's because I buy them last second with Game Time. Game Time is the place to go to buy your last second tickets because it's last-minute prices, the best prices at the last minute. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball as well, which makes getting tickets faster and easier on time right now for you. Prices on Game Time go down the closer it gets to first pitch. So right now, on the Game Time app, go find yourself at an MLB game thanks to their last minute deal. Save up to 60% buying last minute for sports, again, concerts, comedy, theater. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. That's right. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. They are last minute tickets, lowest prices, and that is a guarantee.